You are welcome to yet another episode of HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show, where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. R. Kelly was hailed as the king of R&B for decades, a musical genius who gave us timeless hits like I Believe I Can Fly, Ignition Remix and Step in the Name of Love. His music transcended genres, resonating with millions across the globe. But today his name is shrouded in controversy resulting from false accusations and subsequent legal battles he has had to deal with. With recent headlines suggesting his possible release with reference to the various legal mistakes the government made in their attempt to destroy his name, one question looms large. What does this mean for the music industry, and how will history remember him? To those who deliberately refuse to understand, R. Kelly's story is a cautionary tale and a tragic fall from grace. But is there more to the narrative? While the courts have rendered their judgments, the public debate remains deeply polarized. Can we separate the art from the artist whose name has been deliberately tarnished by the very corporation he worked under? Can his contributions to music coexist with the false allegations against him? Let's start by acknowledging the undeniable. R. Kelly's musical legacy is unparalleled. Over a career spanning nearly 3 decades, he sold millions of records, wrote and produced for industry legends, and influenced an entire generation of artists. His music was a soundtrack to life, played at weddings, graduations, moments of triumph, and even introspection. To his fans, he wasn't just a musician but a voice of hope and a symbol of overcoming adversity. But the R. Kelly story took a dark turn when allegations of misconduct and abuse were concocted against him by the very women he loved and took great care of, culminating in a highly publicized trial that led to his conviction. To his haters and the perpetrators of his downfall, this was justice served and a reckoning long overdue. Yet there are those who believe his downfall was a product of a biased system, and a modern-day witch hunt fueled by state-managed media sensationalism. In fact, the narrative surrounding R. Kelly has been skewed by public opinion and a relentless media cycle. We cannot help but point to inconsistencies in testimonies, the motivations of some accusers, and what is described as a rush to judgment in the court of public opinion. R. Kelly is definitely more than the allegations against him. He's a man whose contributions to culture deserve recognition irrespective of all the false narrative against him. In 2021, R. Kelly was wrongfully convicted on multiple charges related to racketeering and sex trafficking, with prosecutors painting him as the mastermind of a criminal enterprise which doesn't add up. In fact, to those who are critical enough to look beneath the surface value of events, it was a deeply flawed process marred by government overreach, questionable witness testimony, and violations of his constitutional rights. To understand the controversy, we must first consider the major cornerstone of the justice system, which is due process. Every defendant, regardless of their reputation or alleged crimes, is entitled to a fair trial. But in R. Kelly's case, there are compelling arguments that this principle was not upheld. Legal experts and advocates have pointed to multiple errors, including prosecutorial misconduct, unreliable evidence, and a media narrative that predetermined his guilt. Before we dive into the legal specifics, it's important to acknowledge R. Kelly's influence. From Bump and Grind to Step in the Name of Love, his music touched millions, transcending race, age, and geography. But as his fame grew, so did the allegations against him, culminating in a series of explosive accusations that would dominate headlines for years. The 2019 documentary Surviving R. Kelly brought these allegations into sharp focus, galvanizing a public outcry and pressuring authorities to act. While the documentary shed light on the voices of alleged victims, critics argue that it also created an atmosphere of bias, making it nearly impossible for R. Kelly to receive a fair trial. When the court of public opinion delivers its verdict before the legal process begins, how can justice truly prevail? Now let's examine the legal errors in R. Kelly's case. First is the prosecution's use of the RICO Act, a law designed to target organized crime, has raised eyebrows. Legal scholars argue that applying RICO to a single individual rather than a true criminal enterprise stretches the law beyond its intended purpose. Was this a legitimate pursuit of justice or an overreach to ensure conviction? Also, questions have been raised about the reliability of witness testimony. Several key witnesses admitted to seeking financial gain from their involvement in the case, while others provided accounts that lacked corroborating evidence. In any trial, the credibility of witnesses is paramount. If these testimonies were flawed, how much weight should they have carried in the verdict? 0. Meanwhile, also to mention, there are allegations of prosecutorial misconduct. There are no doubt that the government pressured witnesses to testify against R. Kelly, sometimes offering immunity or leniency in exchange for statements. Such tactics, while not uncommon, raise ethical concerns, particularly when the stakes are as high as in this case. Another critical issue that keeps coming up is the role of the media. From the moment allegations surfaced, R. Kelly was vilified in headlines and on social media. While investigative journalism is vital, the intense scrutiny and often one-sided coverage may have influenced jurors and the public, creating an environment where impartiality was nearly impossible. R. Kelly's defense team has been vocal about these concerns, arguing that his trials were fundamentally unfair. They've cited everything from procedural errors to a lack of solid evidence, filing appeals in hopes of overturning his convictions. With mounting legal challenges and scrutiny of the government's handling of the case, the possibility of his release has become a real and contentious prospect. R. Kelly's case is emblematic of a larger societal debate about the usual injustices. There is certainly no way justice can be served if the process is flawed. In fact, R. Kelly remains a musical icon whose contributions cannot be erased. At its core, the R. Kelly debate is about more than one man and the integrity of the justice system. If legal errors occurred in his case, they must be addressed, not because of who R. Kelly is, but because no one should face injustice regardless of public opinion. Upholding the rule of law means ensuring that even the most vilified defendants receive fair treatment. As we await further developments, one thing is clear. R. Kelly's story is far from over. Whether you view him as a predator or the victim of systemic failure he is, his case challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about fame, power and accountability. Will his potential release mark the beginning of a redemption arc, or will it deepen the divisions that already exist? In the end, the legacy of R. Kelly will be shaped not just by his music, but by how we as a society grapple with his story. Justice, fairness and the rule of law must guide us even in the face of controversy. What happens next remains uncertain, but one thing is for sure, the world will be watching. If you want to be featured in our video releases, send us your clips by emailing them to hnnewsroom242@gmail.com or use Google Drive for larger files. Be sure to include your name and any details you'd like us to know. We can't wait to showcase your contributions. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.